Welcome to this edition of All Burgundy and Gold, everything with the urban sports scene on Fox Sports Radio, 1340 AM, 96.9 FM, Hopewell, Virginia. Wole, Ray, and Mo, the three amigos, I guess you want to call us. We're back together, man. Check me out. I'm also known as Kyle Picks in another life.
On another show. Definitely on another show. You are.
In another life. It's Giants week. Fellas, what's up? Come on, Mo. I don't like your energy right now, bro. Are you worried? Y'all didn't look too good the first week. Wole, Washington football team had the issues. What's going on, fellas?
Oh, man, he ready. You see it? He got it. He ready. My man ready. You know what I'm saying? Saquon, you gonna play though? We'll talk about that later. Is he gonna play? We'll talk about that later, man. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, man, you know, it was a rough Sunday for the Washington football team, man. You know, so there was a lot of stuff, man. You know, you just wasn't the greatest thing in the world if you're a Washington football team fan like myself. But real quick before we get into all that, make sure that you subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. Just search All Burgundy and go everything with the Urban Sports. And also tweet us.
Yes, you go.
Also tweet us at Urban Sports Team. Hit us up on our Urban Sports Team Facebook page. But back to what you were saying, right? Yeah, if you're watching a football team fan, man, definitely you're disappointed. You're very disappointed because it's not just by losing, but kind of the things that you saw in that game that led to the loss.
We're going to talk about it.
Yes.
Let's get into it. Let's do it.
Let's get into it. I mean, I think a lot of the things Wole said last week came to fruition. We talked about Justin Herbert being a bad boy. We talked about Justin Herbert escaping the pocket and extending plays, stretching the ball down the field. It wasn't too many deep shots, but it was a consistency there in terms of the passing game that I didn't expect. That I felt like people thought the defense can mitigate, right?
Yeah.
Keenan Allen had a busy day. You're talking about 10 receptions for over 100 yards. Mike Williams joined the party with 8 catches for 80-some yards. So they were at a 10-yard per. You're talking about first down. Look at it. It looked like at a certain point that Keenan Allen figured out whatever the defensive backfield was doing, and he was just doing the opposite. He was so open. So I think they had a good game plan, right? I think early on in the game they ran the ball. They didn't stick with it throughout the course of the game, but they did it enough early to keep the defense respectable.
Yeah.
And what I noticed the most was, contrary to what most people would have thought would happen, I thought like Justin Herbert had a lot of clean pockets. I think Justin Herbert had a lot of clean pockets. For this to be the best defensive line that the NFL has to offer, young talent all across the board. I think he was very, very comfortable back there wheeling and dealing. So
I agree.
I can see how that would worry the fan base. So we'll see how they do this weekend and see if it's a one-time, if it's one-off, or if it's a consistent pattern.
And that's that. I think Mo just hit it right there. For real, to be honest with you, I just think that when you look at the surprising thing is that the lack of pressure, and he did have a clean pocket. He just had the majority of the game in a clean pocket, and it's wild. Like folks, who, if you're watching now, you have to listen to the show, last week's show, because everybody, not just myself, everybody pretty much hit it on the head in terms of what this team needed to be scared about. And it was there. Like everything we discussed, everything, it came to fruition. You know what I mean? It was Herbert, it was Keenan Allen, you know what I mean? Shout out to our guest, Chris Powell, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't just myself and Mo too. He hit on the head in terms of like, will this defense be what folks kind of, were talking about, because there were some holes in it. So the issue to me was that secondary and the defensive line, because you expected more from it, but the secondary was kind of a question mark, because you saw things in that secondary that should make you scared, because then it's the thing of, are you playing man, are you playing zone? They play a lot of zone. I mean, we talked about William Jackson, who had a pick. He got one, but he's used to playing press coverage. We saw a lot of zone. So and and they played a lot of off. When they did play man, it was off man, right? There wasn't no press, and it's a guy who really played well playing press man. So it's a lot of question marks they have to get situated and get ironed out, for the Giants game, because the Giants game, and we'll get to it anyway, but that's a division game. But for this game, this team definitely had a problem with that boy, Justin Herbert. I mean, he is what he is, man. I'm gonna say he's that dude.
He's fantastic. He's fantastic.
That dude.
Like, you talk about young talent at the quarterback. You talk about prototype. You're talking about him.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of young talent. It's not quite the prototype, but he's it. And he has a plethora of weapons. He has a offensive staff that lets him do what he does. He has a defense that supports him. And quiet as kept, they lost like 6 games last year, 1 score.
Like by a little
bit. They just didn't close the deal out. Joey Bosa showed up. Derwin James is active. I think everything we talked about except for Asante Samuel catching the interception.
Yeah. You said Derwin James. Yeah, you said Derwin James. So yeah, that's something. Yeah,
I think a lot of the things that we discussed last week with Chris on the show came to fruition. I want to give a shout out to that newly worked offensive line from the Chargers also. I think they played tough. I think there was some experience there for Rashawn Slater when it came to Chase Young. And I think that
from college,
Corey Linsley and the guards, man, the Alabama wall as best they could. Initis, was a little disruptive at times, but I think for the most part they did exceptional, phenomenal.
They all played the line. They all played the line.
If I'm ahead of the organization based off of what this offensive line looked last year and how they came out this first game against the most notable defensive line in the league, I would be happy.
Interesting, guys. Not a lot of game film on the Chargers, of course, with that new coaching staff. So it's going to be fun to see how they look going forward when people are able to watch some tape and game plan. Mo, I want to get your thoughts on this. If the Washington football team, they play teams that have quarterbacks, obviously, who are good, but also get the ball out quickly, is that a concern moving forward after watching this first game?
I think it absolutely, if it continues, is a concern, right? But I think that getting the ball out quickly is the way to beat this team, right? Because you don't want to give that pass rush time to they're too athletic, they're too fast, too strong, and they're too deep. You're talking about a rotation that goes 6 to 7 deep, right? And you're talking about a multiple front. Like now what they need, I think the Washington football team, if they're going to face teams that are going to get the ball out early and quick, they need to mirror that same pressure that the defensive line is going to bring with the defensive backs and let them get their hands on people. I've said it all off season. There's no point in bringing William Jackson here if he's going to play off coverage. If he's going to be playing in a third, that's not going to work out for the Washington football team. Because before we knew that St. Juice was going to take on the other starting role on the other side, we thought that if they let them get their hands on people, they can redirect people and play into their favor. But if you're going to let St. Juice play the second receiver or sometimes the first receiver, and he can't get his hands on people, he's going to be in for a long day because he doesn't have the experience. 2, the game is fast on this level. 3, them guys they're singling him out.
Yes,
they're singling him out. Because why would I go with the proven commodity Willie Jackson when I know I can go after the young buck and put my best guy over there?
Ooh, that's going to have to get corrected. Good point. But in spite of all that we were talking about, the biggest storyline coming out of this game was that your starting quarterback, who you signed this offseason, Ryan Fitzpatrick, went down, headed to the IR. Taylor Heineke comes on in relief and looks pretty good. Most fans, most analysts were excited with what he brought to the table. You guys' thoughts on this coming week? Taylor Heineke, how is he going to need to perform in order to get this team over the hump? Mo, I'll start with you.
Washington football team fan, you guys got your wish. Got your wish.
Got your wish.
Like, what movie just came out? Candyman.
They done said his name about 5 times. They done said his name 5 times.
He's here. He said his name 5 times.
They done said it.
Okay? We're about to find out about Taylor Heineke really fast.
Yeah.
Really fast. In terms of the defenses he's about to face, starting with the Giants on Thursday night, we talk about a defense that a defense that finished in the top 10 last year, a defense that gets pressure, a defense that has a quality secondary. You talk about the quarterbacks he's about to match up against, I mean, in the next coming weeks after Daniel Jones this week, which might be the least good quarterback on this list. I think you got like three former MVPs coming up.
Yeah, you got Josh Allen. You got Josh Allen after that.
Josh Allen, who was the runner-up in the MVP voting last year.
Yeah,
you got a lot of good quarterbacks. We're going to learn a lot about Heineke, whether he can keep up with the pace, whether he can direct this offense. I know he's good when he comes in, when there's, once again, a defense didn't have a chance to prepare for him.
Yeah.
Right? So he comes in and he takes advantage of that. He comes in, he makes a couple of throws, he gets a couple of first downs. I believe he was like 11 for 14.
Yeah,
so great completion.
11 15.
11 for 15, right? Great completion percentage, however you want to look at it. It seems like he's a little bit more comfortable with the offense, right? But every time he's been out so far, I have to give him credit. He looks good in his spot duty, right? He looks good in his spot duty. So what a concern for me in terms of Taylor Heineke was the receivers didn't really have much action on Sunday, right? Terry McLaurin made that one great catch, and outside of that, I think he had 62 yards. The next receiver on the list was Cam Sims at 17 yards.
Yeah.
Adam Humphries at 10. So facing a better secondary than the Los Angeles Chargers has to offer, with the plethora of additions that the Giants have had in this offseason, it's going to be interesting to see if these guys can get the separation in order to make Taylor Heineke elevate his game, in order for Taylor Heineke's game to elevate this week.
I mean, they had open plays. I mean, they were open. De'Ami Brown was open. He was underthrown. That was a touchdown. They hit De'Ami Brown. So, I mean, they were open. It wasn't like the wide receivers weren't getting open. They were getting open. It's not that wasn't more of it.
Talking about the production.
No. It's all about it's not about. It's about also the line play was different. Like they were open. Like those dudes were open. They were open. It wasn't like the wide receiver. It wasn't like last year when you were like, these dudes ain't getting no separation. Those dudes were getting, like, Scary Terry wasn't even targeted in the first, wasn't targeted till Heineke came in. Then all of a sudden when Heineke came in, he was targeted. So it's just like they were already open. It was more of the whatever the offense, wherever you want to go with the offense, you know, in terms of how you want to go with the offense, in terms of who to blame or whatnot. But but the receivers did what they needed to do. I have a lot of we'll talk about later, a lot of issues.
Then it comes back to the questions that I've had all off season.
Exactly.
Who's going to deliver the football?
That not delivering the football, it's just that also it's the
coordinator. He's
there you go.
I know he was getting that. I know he wanted to take this.
You know what I'm saying? It's not.
I want him to say it with his chest.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's not even. Yeah, it's definitely the coordinator. It's some coordinator issues that it goes off of. We talked about before about how do you call a game, because you met, like Mo, you stated about Taylor Heineke, like you saw what he did last year in that playoff game, and that showed me you opened up the playbook for him in that playoff game. So that showed me you trust him. Like this same regime, they trusted him enough in a big game in the postseason to open the playbook for this individual to make plays. I
think those are different circumstances, though.
Yeah, but it's a playoff game, though.
I don't know if it's a matter of trust or a matter of I don't want to go home.
Yeah,
right?
but it's the highest of the high though. Still, like if it's a playoff game, if I'm gonna be real with you, if I feel like my defense is decent enough, it's a playoff game, I'm going to be a little bit more conservative, and I'm gonna try to play the game or like shorten the game. I'll shorten the game for a dude I don't trust. If I don't trust, I'm gonna shorten the game. I'm going to shorten. If I don't trust you, I'm going to shorten the game. If I trust you, then I'm gonna try to open things up for you. If I trust you, like I'm not gonna open things up for a Trent Dilfer. No, I'm not opening things up for Trent Dilfer. So obviously there's a level of trust that you do have in this kid. And they did show that. They didn't show the same. My issue was that play calling was a little bit more lax in certain situations. Like, for instance, it's 3rd and 7. It's 3rd and 7. You have one of the premier wide receivers in Terry McLaurin. You have De'Ami Brown, a guy that we just talked about that we do like. And you have Humphries, whatever. It's 3rd and 7. You run a wide receiver screen. You run a screen pass on 37 to a wide receiver on the flat and think you get the first down. On a key third down, on a key play that if you get this first down, you have an opportunity to score. You're gonna run that player.
I think a lot of things look better in hindsight. Yeah. I think a lot of the things we talked about this whole offseason was that if this team was going to be successful, they were going to have to be a run-heavy team.
Yeah.
And I saw that in game 1.
Yes, I do.
There was about 29.
Oh, they
29,
ran.
it was 29 to
Definitely.
21 in terms of running plays to passing plays because there's only 21 pass attempts. So Gibson was cooking a little bit. He had averaging like 4.5 yards a carry. He didn't break a super long game, but like he was consistent. I seen him running behind his pads. I seen him lose his feet a couple of times, but I think that'll come. I know he had the toe issue that he was dealing with. So I think systematically, I think they were trying to make sure this game didn't get out of hand. And in doing so, after losing their quarterback, they got super conservative. Because if you lose your starting quarterback, I have my starting quarterback all off season, and he gets hurt, I'm going to get a little bit more conservative. I'm not going to just give Taylor Heineke everything.
I mean, he wasn't. Yeah, I'm not saying he was overly concerned because I'm saying there's certain points in the season in the game, like there's certain situations, like he was definitely like he was. I mean, he aired it out through a bomb. He aired it out to us. He let Heineke do some things, but it's all about for a good play caller, and I think everybody can agree to this. It's situational. It's situational play calling. That's when you hone in for being an excellent player. You can be dynamic. I'm not saying you can be dynamic, but if you don't understand situational play calling, in this situation, we need to do this or we should do this rather than doing this. This is going to give us the best chance to get this first down. It's not even about getting a touchdown. This may be to give the best play to give me the first down to extend the drive. Those are the good offensive coordinators.
I think the defense is dictating some other things, though. I think that's not just on play calling. I think the defense.
No, yeah. If it's this is the thing. It's the NFL. If it's third and 10 or third and 15, I agree. The defense doesn't going to dictate that. But if it's 3rd and 7, you should go for the first down. The defense can't dictate. If they dictate you to throw a screen pass, then you got to be a little bit more creative than that. Like when you do have certain dudes that can get you the first down, like you threw a 50-yard pass to Scary. You could have hit Diami for a 60. So dudes were open. Again, I had people at the game. They told me this. Dudes were open. That's not even an issue. Dudes were open. Like
you can't blame Scott for that though. Scott drew it up and worked, so they were open. So you're telling me
no, they were open. Scott drew up a screen pass. That's my point. He drew up a screen pass.
He drew up a screen pass.
He threw up a screen pass. Look, Scott was bad, bro. You couldn't say he was bad. He
drew up a screen pass once, right? You telling me that receiver?
He threw a 3. He threw up a screen pass in 3rd and 7 when you're trying to get it in field goal range. This is prior to. You
also told me that receivers. You're also telling me that receivers are running open.
So why are you running a screen pass on? They're open on routes.
That was
on
one
3rd
blunder.
down on a big 3rd down play.
That was one blunder. Yeah. The quarterback not getting the ball to these guys is more of a concern to me than the play calling if the guys are open. Is all I'm saying.
1 second, guys. You're listening to All Burgundy and Go Everything with the urban sports scene. Mo, you hit on the head. Limited opportunities in the passing game. Honestly, it wasn't enough for the receivers to really have a great game, any of them. So to me, that was the biggest obstacle. We have our Scott Turner issues. I hear where Mo is coming from. The guys were open. Scott Turner somewhat doing his job. I told you before, Wole, I thought Scott Turner actually did good coming out of halftime and getting the ball to Terry. Remember, Terry was non-existent in the first half. So he did some good things, but we didn't see a step forward like many of us wanted to see in that first game in comparison to last season. I think that's the main thing. Yeah. But Mo, go ahead.
I mean, I just think that if we're going to blame Scott, we can't say that receivers are running open. We can't blame Scott. I think it's that simple. I think it goes back to, I said it before, I think we thought this team was a lot better than what it was because of that playoff berth. Yeah. And we brought in Ryan Fitzpatrick thinking Ryan Fitzmagic was going to work some magic. And now he need a hip replacement. You know what I mean? So
he's a hip replacement.
Like the football guys have a way of making what people want to see occur.
That's true.
You guys wanted to see Heineke. He got his $8 million. It's time for him to earn his $8 million. Here we go.
So the New York Giants come to town this Thursday. We already talked about that a bit. Currently holding a 5-game win streak over the Washington football team. If there's any bit of success that Joe Judge has had, it's that he's beat the Washington football team. Other than that, Joe Judge has been, in the words of Stephen A., an utter disappointment. You know what I'm saying?
Is that dude even going to play, though? I know he's questionable right now.
Here's the thing. The Giants.
Hey, he screwed my fantasy team. That's why I had to bench that dude, dog.
The Giants
The Giants did not look good in week 1, but we're not going to overreact to week 1. Bottom line, this is a division game. It's a big game for both teams. What do both teams need to do to win? We have opposition Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever day you're watching this on, in effect. So, Wole, what does the Washington football team have to do to end this win streak?
If Saquon is playing, they're gonna have to contain Saquon Barkley because that's a dude historically that they haven't stopped throughout, since he's been in the NFL. So you're gonna have to make the Giants one-dimensional. That's the thing for this defense, so they can be able to kind of have Daniel Jones have turnovers. That's the thing that that's his thing. He turns the football over. It just seems like it. So try to put pressure on Jones, and also I would press up like we talked about with the Chargers receivers. Maybe change the game plan, press up on the wide receivers, and make Daniel Jones beat him with his arm. But definitely, I would definitely try to take away Saquon Barkley in the first step. Secondly, on the offense side of the ball, I would run the football, continue to run the football because Gibson did a good job in running the football. I know the fumble hurts because obviously that kind of helped lead to the loss, but at the end of the day, like he still was productive. We saw improvement as a running back. We talked about this, we talked about this last show about what we need to see from him, going into the season. And I saw a lot of good things from him as a running back. So now he's ready. It seems like he's ready to take the ball and become a top tier running back. So use Patterson. I feel like you're going to be a running team, then do it all the way. Like be a running team. Like utilize both of them. So that way, when Gibson's out, go to the next dude who can tote the football in terms of in that backfield. So and take some shots with Scary Terry. You had Judy, who made a lot of plays against the Giants before he got hurt. He had like 70-some yards. Try to attack the cornerbacks with Scary Terry. So if you go that route, maybe you can be successful. But
no mention of third down defense. The defense struggled against the Chargers on third down.
That's Herbert. Though. Herbert's different. Herbert different, bro. Like I get you, but Herbert different, right? That's like saying you're going against. That's like me comparing. Like I'm not calling Herbert Brady. That's like looking at Heineke. Real talk. Like if the Washington was going against Heineke, they played Brady and Brady diced them for like third downs, and then they play Heineke. Like it's different. There's different levels to it, bro.
You think it's that big? You think it's that big of a drop off? Okay.
You think Herbert? Right? No. You think Herbert and Jones is close?
No. I'm talking about Brady Heineke is a bigger gap than Herbert and Daniel Jones. That's all I'm saying. But anyway,
it's still big. It's big as hell. Regardless, I don't even know.
I get what you're coming from.
Like I don't even know what. It's still big as hell. Like thank you. I don't even know. It's big as hell. Bro. It don't even.
Okay, so you're not concerned about that. Also,
not to that degree. Not to the degree we saw with Herbert.
He said it's a long bridge between you, buddy.
Yeah, not to the degree of Herbert. Nah.
Hey, Justin Herbert. That's
awesome. I would have to agree, man. 1 year in.
Who got picked? Who got picked ahead of Justin Herbert?
Chase.
In terms of Chase. Yo, that's messed up. Anyway, I'm just talking about quarterbacks, 2 different drafts. But Mo, what do the Giants need to do to keep this win streak alive, my friend?
I mean, the Giants gotta apply some pressure to Heineke. They gotta make him make decisions quick. Same formula that the Washington football team has to have to be successful against Daniel Jones and the offense. Mm-hmm. Same formula we gotta have for the Washington football team. We gotta stop Gibson. We gotta stop him in his tracks early. We gotta apply consistent pressure on Heineke and make Heineke beat us with his arm.
Agreed.
I love it.
Right though. No, he's right. You got to. It's right.
Yeah. I mean, when I think about it, a lot of the attention is going to go to Terry, deservingly so.
Yeah.
I think Terry's had some good games against the Giants before. Even with our additions at the corner. So we don't have to. We can just put the next guy on him, right?
Yeah.
But we got to show him a lot of looks, and we got to be physical with him. We got to take him out of the game. But we have to stop the run first. We have to make Heineke beat us and trust that our defense will hold up. I think that the Denver game got out of hand. It got out of hand late. Mm-hmm. Especially after a crucial turnover by Daniel Jones on a run play where he actually covered the ball up and still fumbled.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
The Daniel Jones love is evident tonight. Man,
still fumbled. So if the Giants can play, if we can play mistake-free football, which Daniel Jones tends to do against the Washington football
Yeah, he
team.
does that down. I'm not going to act. So I'm not
He
going to
doesn't
act
turn
brand
the
new.
ball over again. I think he has like one interception.
Yeah, against Washington is like weird. Like he'll have a couple, but it's not like.
Well, see, that's what I was saying. It doesn't matter whether he's Justin Herbert or not. It's something about when he goes up against the Washington football team. He's had some success.
Not what you do. No, don't do that. Not like that.
I'm just asking.
Herbert is a whole different animal, bro. Like that's a. I don't like that's harder.
Be careful. Be careful what you say about Daniel.
I'm cool with that. No, I'm cool. I'm not saying Daniel Jones. I'm not saying Daniel Jones is going to have a bad game against Washington. I'm not saying he's going to have a bad game against Washington. I just say not to the level of what we saw with Herbert. That's a different animal. Like that's like if you're talking about they going to see Josh Allen in a couple weeks, I'm gonna be like, yeah, you're right. Then that's another issue in a third down because that's so many variables even with him because he can run the football and he can throw it, he can scramble. There's so many variables with them picking up third downs on a consistent basis. But you know what I'm saying?
You also have film on his team too. You didn't have film on
the Chargers.
On the Chargers.
That too, but yeah.
It's a team out of the conference. It's a team out of the conference. You play them once every 4 years or so. So they've had changes at the head coaching.
Yeah.
And they have changes on the roster. He's another year experience. It's a new offense compared to last year. So it's understood. When I look at this game, like no team has that advantage. They play each other every year. They know what each other's going to do.
Pretty much.
They get in between the white lines and they got to handle business. When it comes down to it, it's going to come down to whether our offensive line can protect versus that vaunted pass rush of the Washington football
and vice versa, right? And vice versa on the other side too. Because the Washington had the same issue, could have the same issue with the Giants front four. Like the Giants front four is dangerous. It's a good front four. They got pressure on Teddy Bridgewater.
I'm watching on Sunday and I got offensive linemen playing patty cake with each other and letting Von Miller get.
That's a bad boy too.
As if Von Miller doesn't have a big enough star on him.
That's
which I don't understand. You know, I know we had some young guys in there, Matt Burton and whatnot. I want to see how he does. That right tackle matchup is going to be key because Montez Sweat is on that side. You're not talking about no regular guy, and you're talking about a 4-3 defense in which they can get that interior pressure. And have the ends collapse the pocket.
Yeah, so they got to show it now. There was a lot of talk about that front four. They got to show it now.
Both sides have to show it. Both sides have to show it.
But I'm talking about this for this area, for this region. A lot of fan bases. The fan base has been talking about it. Now we've been talking like we going off of what we saw. We've been see on Sundays and we see on Thursdays or Mondays, whatever. But on this last Sunday, for what we saw, that front four ain't as advertised right now. So they gotta earn that. They gotta earn that street cred. They gotta earn that. You know what I mean? Fans gotta stop talking about them like this is the best front four or this could be. Nah, that's done. We wiping that away. Now you gotta prove it. You know what I'm saying? We're like potential is amazing. We talk about that in basketball. Like when you get a kid from high school, that potential is amazing. You're like, but now it's time to show it. So you ain't getting no claim on here. Not for me, unless you do it. Once you do it, then we can claim it. But you ain't do it. Now you ain't doing it yet.
Gentlemen, both of y'all are gonna be in person. Wole, you wearing a Washington football team jersey? You
wearing
your gear. We know what Mo's wearing. Mo's gonna wear his gear. I was gonna say
maybe gonna wear
white
tee, maybe a white tee.
Can we at least get a photo or can we get a wager? What y'all want to do?
I don't bet.
Since y'all both gonna be there.
I don't bet. You know that. I don't bet. I don't do that.
That's not the guy I went to Atlantic City with.
I know.
Anyway,
I don't do that no more. I don't do that no more.
My man got soft. I thought I was soft.
What Cam say? I'm a changed man.
I haven't gambled like dude. I haven't even gambled like that in such a long time. Yeah, I used to get it.
$20 ATM fees. He like, I need another G just to drop on tape. But anyway, it's time to make your predictions, Mo. Who's going to win this? Who's going to win this game? What's the score going to be?
Game, I think there's too much uncertainty with Taylor Heineke for me to pick them. Just being honest.
Cool.
I say it all the time. If I think it's going to be a close game, give me the better quarterback. And in this situation, Daniel Jones is a better quarterback to me. Very slight, like very.
Hold up, can I ask you this real quick? So if Fitzpatrick was playing, would that have tilted?
Yeah,
If Fitzpatrick was playing and was able to complete that game on Sunday, and I could have seen him.
Oh, I got you a fair.
Okay,
I get it.
All right. I would have. I could honestly say that that the Giants would have their hands full.
Got you. All right.
I don't even in this situation. I don't know what imminent threat Heineke presents.
No one really knows for real.
Exactly. So he's the unknown, right? He's the unknown. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go with the guy that's 4-0 against this team in 4 tries, and 26 is back. I seen a little bit of flashes from Kenny Golladay. Those 50-50 balls on Sunday. I saw some flashes that I liked because we know that Daniel Jones is not the most accurate guy, right? Mm-hmm. He generally throws to a vicinity, and we have a guy that can go catch in any kind of vicinity. So I like that, and I love the play of Sterling Shepard.
He played good
on Sunday. So from what I saw happen to St. Juice and the other DBs outside of William Jackson, I like the weapons that we have winning more times than not. And then maybe 2-6 decides to, have a throwback Thursday. And,
it's a lot of maybes, but go ahead, though.
Mo, give me a score, Mo. Give me a score.
Oh, man.
With the Giants' woes on offense, it's going to be a lot of field goals. So
probably some field goals. I agree with
I'm going to account for at least 2 to 3 field goals and at best 2 touchdowns. So 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals is what, 23-17.
That's a fair score. That's a fair score. That's a fair score.
Heineke type of game, right?
Yeah, right. I know, right? It's all of his L's. Like around 23, 16, 17. I have Washington winning. I think it's definitely, to me, it's a must-win game because it's at home. You need this. You can't lose 2 home games in a row. So I think they'll feel the pressure.
And 2 home games of Buffalo coming in.
Yeah, that too. Buffalo's coming. Buffalo next.
That's 0-3 in a heartbeat.
Yeah, look right. Yeah, see that? Anyway. But
I don't look at the schedule, man. I feel like you beat anybody any given week. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry, I already expressed that.
It's all good. I know you good, bro. You good, bro. So I feel. Washington's gonna have to, try to control the line of scrimmage. I think it's very important to control the line of scrimmage, run the football with Gibson. I want to see run the ball with Gibson, run the ball with Patterson, and use Scary early. Try to get Scary out there early so he can be a threat to get him early and often. Because if you watch some of the stuff that, there are plays out there, I think the Giants front is solid. It's really good. But if you can get some time, there are plays out there on the outside that you can get on the Giants. You saw the Hamler get open, and you saw Judy. You saw a lot of guys, the wide receivers the Broncos have, had an opportunity to get open. But again, you got to have time though too. So if they can get the time,
you got to have depth though. I think you got to have depth.
Washington got depth in receiver. They got depth in receiver.
I think we've crowned Deani, and then we played one game.
Well, I'm just saying, they got. Again, I'm just saying, there's opportunities from even from the game they lost with Deani. I feel like Deani can do some things. There'll be opportunities to have out there. So my thing is having the time. I just think the Giants. I have so much respect for the Giants front four. I do. I think they're very underrated. I think one of the best front fours in football, to be honest with you. So if they can get time and they can kind of exploit that. But again, Cosme has to play better against the pass. He was horrible against the pass. He was good against the run, but horrible against the pass. He's going to have to do better on that right side, and even Leno got to do better on that.
Respectfully, they tried to slip Joey Bosa over there as if we didn't know who 97 was.
I know, that's why you got double.
You got on Cosme, you got on your rookie.
I'm not saying. I just say it was a bad day. That's what I'm saying. It was a bad day. It was a bad day.
I think I seen Joey Bosa make all pros look bad.
He was the best. He was the best Ohio State player on the field on Sunday.
Shout out to Chase Young.
That's not. I like Chase. No, I like Chase. It's a fact. Of course.
That's a fact. No doubt.
But yeah, I like it. But I'm gonna give you a score real quick. I'm gonna give you a score. It's going to be Washington, close to what Mo, actually very close to what Mo's saying. I would go with Washington 24, the Giants 20.
Okay. So if the Washington football team loses, because we do cover this team, should drastic changes be made at 0-2 start and 0-1 division start? And also, you're starting at 0-2 at home.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the water's fixed in the stadium. Hopefully, that leak is fixed. And all is well at FedEx Field. They could change the mojo in this streak. But if you don't win this game, everybody's worried about big bad Buffalo. Buffalo might come into this game 0-2, by the way, as well, against Washington. So anyway, if though the Giants leave FedEx Field with the victory, what do the Washington football team, what do they do? They stay the course, stick with what they're doing, or they make drastic changes?
I think what they should do, first off, if they do lose and they're still doing the same thing they did last week, they should like this whole thing about Cam Curl seeing limited snaps. That needs to change ASAP. I think Cam Curl needs to be out there as much as you can. And even if you watch some of the film that some of the stuff he was doing on Sunday, he was effective. And it's something that kills me. And just in what this team is doing, you got guys last season that helped you. Like most of it, it's a bad division, but it helped you on that run. They're very effective, and they're not getting the opportunity anymore. Regardless of what it is, it could be getting cut in the off season. They're now on other teams because they didn't want to sign them or whatever. And you have a guy that you drafted, he showed out for you. Didn't just play; he was one of the better rookies and defensive rookies in the NFL in that span. He has to see the field more. And I like the way Landon. I'm not saying you gotta take out Landon. I like the way Landon's playing, but you got to find a way to utilize this kid. This kid was doing too many good things. So if you lose, say the secondary is an issue again, they're going to find a way to get that kid on the field.
I mean, the problem is you have a $14 million player at the same position, and where he's the most effective.
Yeah, and he has been good though. And don't get me wrong, he didn't look bad.
And both of them play the same position. They play the same kind of style. One's a better coverer than the other, but one does in the box is elite.
Yes.
So if the Washington football team loses tomorrow, I don't think drastic changes are necessary. I think that this team is what this team is. And where are you going to go? You can't make any other changes at quarterback. All you have left is Kyle Allen. I don't even think he's deemed to come back for another couple of weeks, right?
Yeah.
You just brought in Pat Shermer's son.
Yes.
Good luck.
Practice squad though, but
I mean, whatever that means,
right?
I
know what it is.
So you bring him in. The only thing the defense can do
is
change.
They can change some stuff up.
It has to play a physical brand of
football.
It has to play a physical. I didn't hear Jamin's name much on Sunday, which I want to see Jamin. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a learning process.
20th overall pick. Before the draft, he wasn't supposed to be that high of a pick. Then all of a sudden, it became like this Jamin Davis watch, and then the Washington football team jumped out there, right? I said the worst thing that happened to this team was they made the playoffs with this team, right? Because he might not have been the player that needed to be drafted there. You might have needed to use that pick and mortgage it and get a quarterback.
Okay, you're talking about the quarterback.
I'm just saying.
I wasn't.
I'm not that high that quarterback.
I'm not that high.
I'm not really saying much.
Now, listen to me. Hear me out. You got Ryan Fitzpatrick on a 1-year contract.
Oh, they
$10 million.
Yeah.
Taylor Heineke is his backup. Kyle Allen's coming off of injury. Probably not going to be ready for another couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Like, even with as great this defense is, if you don't got somebody that can man the front on the offense, it's not going to be.
We gotta stop. We gotta stop calling it right now. We don't know if it's great. That's one. We don't know if it's great.
We're basically all of our arguments before.
Yeah, today. Before. Yeah, exactly. So good. Yeah. So this is the thing. This is the thing about that. I think Will said this on our last show, which made a lot of sense. You're like, and to your point, what you said, Mo, it's like, what do you do? Maybe you don't do anything, and you just play the season out, and then you get your quarterback in this next upcoming draft, because this draft has a couple of dudes that you can build around. So you just play it out. Sometimes you play it out, because it goes to what you and Ray have always said: sustain success. So you know what I mean. If you're just gonna have to, sometimes let's take this L, and you
then after this year, you can get rid of Landon's $14 million.
Yeah, then you can do.
Cam Curl gets back to where he has to go. You have everybody else under contract. Use that $14 million elsewhere, right?
Yeah.
You start adding additions.
Yeah. So it just depends. So I agree. I mean, that's another way to look at it. Just, you know what? If you have to, you have to. Just gonna have to take the L. If you have to.
I mean, the schedule is brutal.
Yeah, it's tough. Definitely
The
tough
schedule's
schedule.
brutal. I mean, you're not going to
And-
make any. If people are screaming Cam Newton's name, you bring in Cam Newton. Yes, I think he knows the offense because he's played in it for so long,
Yeah,
or
he's
in the
been
case.
Cam.
But like,
I'm
but
pro
come
Cam.
on
I'm
now.
always pro Cam. I'm always gonna be pro Cam, but that's just
I
me.
know you pro Cam. That's why I know you're pro Cam. So you
I'm
bring
always
in
pro
Cam
Cam.
Newton. Let's say
But
you
I'm
bring
not
in Cam
going.
Newton after a couple of weeks. Cam Newton's gonna
My
be
argument with the Cam, my only thing about arguing with the Cam stuff is this. This only thing. I mean, I'm if you don't bring Cam, it's fine. I'm not going to cry over it. But my only issue with Cam is like no one. It's about fans. Like, don't ever come to me with an argument that said that you're going to come to me and say that Taylor Heineke and Kyle Allen are better than Cam Newton. I don't care if Cam Newton's playing one arm. You're not going to give me. You're not going to even mess with me.
one leg.
I don't care. One leg and a sprained ankle. He ain't. I don't care. Like, you're not going to. I'm not going to go with that argument. But if you want to just,
I'm not entertaining.
I'm not entertaining it. I'm not going to entertain it because that's disrespectful. That it is. You don't do that to anybody else who y'all. But this is my thing, and I'm not knocking. I'm not saying he's not this guy. But when Peyton Manning had that bum, when his shoulder was all jacked, he could barely throw the football. You ain't never hear somebody say, "Well, this sorry ass quarterback is better than Peyton Manning." You ain't never heard anybody.
I mean, well, that was a big difference. You're talking about a 4 to 5 time MVP.
No, I'm just saying, but he could barely throw. I'm just saying, like, he could barely throw the ball. No, I love Peyton. He could barely throw the ball.
I got you.
I'm just saying.
Peyton Manning can play 1 year of horrible football.
I'm talking about that stretch. There was a stretch where he got
Peyton Manning can be the Pits, and you just got.
I love Peyton. I'm not saying that again. I'm just saying, like,
but
but the way people. I'm just saying the way people treat certain things is hilarious.
Cam ain't of that caliber.
He's not. Remember
that divide you said between Justin Herbert and
it's different. There's different levels to this. I get it.
It's the same divide between Peyton Manning and Cam.
I mean, it's like no. He was like not the shoulder pain. The rotate. Ray got something to say. I ain't gonna mess with Ray.
No, not at all. I'm just waiting to close. I mean, I mentioned on that other show that Terry McLaurin said it best. I can't keep playing with different quarterbacks and finding rhythm. I need to have one consistent guy on the field to make sure that we build that chemistry. Yeah, he's played with 10 quarterbacks. So I mean, he's gone through it. So he's ready to play with Heineke and move forward. He does not want to play with any other quarterbacks. You can't bring Cam in. It would not be right in terms of chemistry. You've had these three guys in training camp. The one thing I think in hindsight that the Washington football team did not do right on Handlewell was they didn't let Heineke get rest with the first team enough throughout the course of training camp. It was Ryan Fitzpatrick is our guy, and then here he is out in week 1. In a way, it gives you an advantage going up against the Giants. However, we don't know who Heineke is yet.
No one knows who he is.
We still have a small sample size. So I love the fact that Terry, as a leader, is speaking up. And for that reason alone, I'm saying no to Cam Newton. I like Cam Newton as well. But at this point, you got to have some consistency.
It's facts. All right, it's time to close this show out. Hey, subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. Search All Burgundy and Gold Errrything with the Urban Sports Scene. Also tweet us at Urban Sports Scene and hit us up on our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page. Hey, man, this has been a dope show. Appreciate you all for listening. Thanks, whenever you did listen, Mo held it down with the Giants jerk, with his Saquon Barkley jersey and Giants hat. Ray always doing the darn thing, tapping into his like, who are you, Ray? As a host, who would you be?
Oh, well, I don't know yet at this point. I just said, let me be Molly Querim today. I didn't really want to jump in between you guys because you got Washington, New York. We got to do this. We're going to do this again later in the season.
Yeah,
By the way, I'll be on post-game live. Catch me everywhere, Facebook, Twitter, of course.
Hey, Mo.
Me and the homie Glenn, we there. Y'all in person, like I said. Hey, watch out for the water. Be water, my friend.
Hey, Mo, you haven't been on any. I know you're gonna be on some folks' shows this week, right? Because you're the Giants fan.
Listen, man, we're gonna try to get as many of them things done as possible. Y'all said all burgundy and gold, everything, but not Thursday night, though, baby. Not Thursday night, though, all right?
Oh, man. My man. Hey, you've been listening to All Burgundy and Go Errrything with the Urban Sports Scene on Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia for ages. You need deuces. Hey, Mega, lead us out, big homie.